full disclosure, the voice you are listening to now is artificially generated, brought to you by satisphonic.com. See the link in the description for more details. What are some unsaid first date rules everyone should know? Be interested in what the other has to say. No short-worded answers. Hey, how are you? Nice to see you in person. How was your holiday? Fine, you spend it with family. Get everything you wanted?
Yeah, cool. So this place seems nice. You've been here before.
No best date ever. And the people answering like this are the same people that say they value communication in a relationship. In other words, be present. Not much worse on a first date than noticing that the person across from you, who you took the time to get ready for, is just waiting for the time to pass so they can leave. Edit. If they're not into you, it doesn't really matter how present they force themselves to be, yes. But there are better ways to end the date than to check out mentally. Edit 2. But how does this translate to not giving one-word answers? I often find myself giving one-word answers because people ask yes-no questions. I could say I honestly haven't given much more thought than that, but having a canned response seems weird. Being present means engaging in real time, not spitting out answers you have saved in a database like this is a dating sim game. If you don't have much to contribute in your answer, then follow up with a topic you can talk about more. It's just having a conversation. Don't be afraid of awkward silences, and don't overthink. Overthinking is kinda my deal. Sane, but try to limit it. Just go with the flow and tell your brain to shut up. But how we get out of the awkward silence? Like I can throw some questions in, but that gonna be hella random then. Waiter, very good. I'll be right back with your drinks. Me turning to date. So who's your favorite Roman emperor? Put your damned phone down. This goes for the second, third, fourth. Forever. One time I went on a first date to be someone, and they were so excited to be on a date, me, and they even said that they could see themselves falling in love with me. We started kissing and then his phone beeped. He stopped mid-kiss and pulled out his phone to find a Tinder notification. We did not meet on dating app, and was so excited and was like, should we see who matched me? That is genuinely psychotic. Bullet dodged, friend. Waiter, very good. I'll be right back with your drinks. Me, turning to date. So who's your favorite Roman emperor? Be on time. This is such a pet peeve of mine. We said 5:30. I likely only know you from your pictures, so I'm nervously looking around for you at 5:28 as I walk up just to get a text. Sorry, going to be 10 minutes. Now, am I taking up a table at the coffee shop, standing around for 10 minutes with my dog? Just be on time. First dates are hard enough. Wait, hold on. You bring your dog to first dates? Safety reasons? I had a first date where my date brought her friend as a chaperone. No heads up, no explanations, just, hi, I'm Shannon, and this is Shally. I'm Shannon, and this is Uferoa. Shall we go grab a drink? I ended up getting along better with the chaperone than I did with my date. There was no second date, chaperoned or not. Years later, I ran into the chaperone, and she told me, man, I used to hate when Shannon would drag me along on dates. I'd think we were hanging out then some dude would show up every so often. To this day, one of the weirdest first dates I've had. The other being a woman who said, hey, I need to stop by my friend's place. She needs some support. We get there and I find out the friend's sister had been murdered a few days previous. And it was me, my date who I just met, and 4 people I didn't know all crying uncontrollably. I couldn't duck out because I would have felt like an asshole, so I was there trying to console someone I just met a few minutes prior. Both of them should know it's a date before the date begins. My last ex was about 15-20 minutes late on the first date despite being from the same part of the city as me. I chalked it up to her losing track of time, Uber, but then every time I came to pick her up, she'd still be walking out of the house 10-15 minutes after the time we scheduled for. Definitely not something I miss about her lol. But be into a he more than yourself. Don't over-talk about yourself. It's amazing how many people don't seem to get this. I've been on first dates where I could hardly get a word in because they are talking about themselves constantly. I prefer this actually. I don't like talking about myself. It's just so much easier to get her rolling and then just add in my little side stories. I know about me. I want to know about her. She will ask if she wants to know about me. Don't trauma dump. I promise you this person doesn't want to hear about your ex. But that's the point. If she's interested in you, she'll want to know more about you. Though I suppose it's more of a thing to think about on a second date, really. Don't talk about your ex, don't look at your phone, ask open-ended questions, don't complain too much, edit. I'm going to elaborate on a couple of these because a couple of comments are coming up repeatedly. If it's just a 1-minute summary, that's fine. There are a couple of issues I can see with a prolonged conversion. It can end up being a therapy session where we just end up unpacking all your relationship baggage, which I may not have the emotional energy for, and it's not what I'm looking for on a first date. Those conversations can happen later. It's easy to start complaining about your ex or speaking badly about them, and that can be also very off-putting. If you talk about them badly to a random stranger, are you also going to be talking about me? The opposite is also true. Any man who is careful with his words regarding his ex and who does his best to speak respectfully of him is a big sign of maturity for me and makes him a lot more attractive. For anyone that wants to update a friend with how it's going for safety, there's obvious times when there's natural breaks. Like if someone gets up to go to the bathroom, etc., where sending a quick update is fine. And I will head off to the bathroom for a bathroom break if I'm feeling like I really need to send an update on how things are going. Consider the difference between, do you like pizza? Yes, no, or what's your favorite food and why? They can answer any number of foods for any reason. The first question causes the conversation to end because the answer is simply yes or no. You either need to ask a follow-up question or they need to ask you the same one back. The open-ended question gives them an opportunity to talk more about what they like and why, and it allows you to bounce off each other. You'd think that don't talk about your ex would be a no-brainer, but experience has taught me differently. Don't ask if they've been to prison, even as a joke, unless you're truly ready for the answer. In my case, she was out on bail awaiting trial. You'd think that don't talk about your ex would be a no-brainer, but experience has taught me differently. If you've met online, don't pressure the person too much with your expectations, goddammit. It's basically a stranger. You don't need to end up in a relationship with that person. Get to know them as a human being at first, without any exact ideas of the type of your potential future relationship. No murdering. This is a big one. I've been murdered twice on first dates. Stay safe out there. I think the first rule on your first date is no eyes-loating, meaning don't take her on a hike in the woods for a first date, you serial killer. You don't want to see my chainsaw collection in my dark, unfinished basement from the 1800s. I thought you were different. JK? Don't try to fuck. If it happens, that's great, but everybody's gonna have a better time if nobody has a hard agenda. I've done this before. In my defense, I was young. Also, I'm an incredibly oblivious person to the things around me, and sometimes that extends to safety. But hey, I didn't get murdered in the woods, thankfully. Just be honest. Sounds simple. Many seem to have a problem with this one. Don't get sloppy, shit-faced drunk. I know a few girls who broke that rule. For the love of God, don't insist on driving her anywhere if she says no. Don't make a big deal out of it. It's for coffee, lunch, or cocktails, and that's it. In sales, the purpose of the first meeting is to get the second meeting. Likewise, the purpose in first dates is to get the second date. You're not there to bang. You're there to establish mutual interest. You're not on a job interview. You're there to learn about the other person. That means being more interested in learning about him than talking about yourself. Open-ended questions are really good for that. Not the job or college major or anything like that, but rather what that person is interested in when it comes to life. What is that person passionate about? If things are clicking on all cylinders, if and only if all the buy signals are there, then suggest extending the date to a casual dinner or something low-key like walking in the park or something fun. Guys in particular, do not take her to a fancy white linen place on the first date. That's the sign of a full court press. No matter how well things are going, don't make the beast with two backs. I don't care if this is the perfect person. Instead, your goal here is to establish mutual trust. If you're trying really hard to plant your flag, or whatever metaphor you care for here, it kind of gets in the way of that. Plus, crazy sometimes takes a few dates to manifest itself. What's worse, I know any number of guys who did the humpa-lumpa-ding-dong with some girl early on and wound up writing a lot of child support checks. Be a little selective about who rides your baloney pony. And that takes time. No distractions. Put the phone down. If you see someone else you know, introduce your date right away and tell your acquaintance some interesting things about your date. No one likes being the third wheel in someone else's conversation. Manners count for a lot. Then turn your attention back to your date. The entire point of the first date is to have fun and see if that person is good to hang with. That's it. You're not negotiating arms reduction. This is especially true if your first date with someone entails hanging with his or her friends, then make friends with his or her friends. Nothing is worse when you're at a party or gathering or some such and your date, this person you barely know, is tethered to you like a damn boat anchor. Be your own person. Likewise, just like A6, introduce your date around to everybody. Give that person a fighting chance. Finally, it's a numbers game. You might have to go through a lot of dates before you meet the perfect person. But that doesn't mean you just blow off someone with whom you don't have chemistry. To that point, I had a lunch date with someone with whom I didn't really connect, as in 30 seconds in. But I still put effort into getting to know her and have a great conversation. 2 weeks later, she invited me to a party she was throwing. It was there that I met my wife. There you go, your foolproof first date guide. This is a great guide. I endorse all points, but I have a minor quibble with 8. Don't plan a first date where the person has to hang out with a bunch of your friends and doesn't have any of their own people there. That's just cruel. Always give your lady an out. Let her sit closest to the exit. Make your statements. Do you want to come to my place after dinner? Or do you have to get up early tomorrow? Also, just a little tip, and something I've only had done a few times, but is super helpful, is to send a list of food options, menu, so you both don't feel rushed wherever you go, and can make sure any dietary restrictions are met. Thoughtful. Just damn thoughtful. Are you busy later?